Hi guys, in this video, we're gonna learn together about efficiency in economics. Imagine you are baking cookies and you have limited ingredients such as sugar, flour, and also chocolate chips, and you want to make as many as delicious cookies as possible. Efficiency in economics is a bit like making these cookies. It's about using your resources wisely to get the most out of them. Now, picture a seesaw with a cookie jar on one side and your ingredients on the other. If you use too much flour or sugar, the seesaw tips too far in one direction and you don't have enough ingredients left for more cookies. That's not efficient because you have wasted resources. On the other hand, if you use just the right amount of each ingredient, the seesaw balances perfectly. You have achieved equilibrium. This point is where you make the most cookies with your limited ingredients. It is efficient because you are not wasted everything. In economics, we call this point of balance is equilibrium. So, the equilibrium point is the efficient point. One more time, the equilibrium point is the efficient point. When an economy is in equilibrium, it means the resources such as labor, money, and also materials are being used just right to produce as much as possible without waste. In equilibrium point, no parties, neither buyer nor seller, harms other. If you want to buy a cool vintage t-shirt while someone else wants to sell the cool vintage t-shirt, both of you want to make a fair deal whether neither feel cheated. The equilibrium point in economics is like that. It is when the seller is willing to sell the t-shirt at the price when the buyer is willing to pay. At this point, both the seller and the buyer are getting what they want without feeling like they are giving too much or giving too little. So, the equilibrium point is like the magical meeting point where everyone is happy with the deal. Sellers sell at the price they are comfortable with and buyers buy at the price they are willing to pay. It's the most efficient point because it ensures that resources are being used and exchanged in the best possible way, making both sides of the transaction content. After you know about efficiency, let's talk about consumer surplus and also producer surplus. Imagine you are at an ice cream stand on a hot summer day and you are willing to pay up to $5 for a scoop of your favorite ice cream. And then the ice cream seller offers it to you at $3 only. It means you pay less than your willingness to pay. That will be consumer surplus. Consumer surplus is the difference between the maximum amount a buyer wants to purchase and its market price. Or I can say it is the difference between the maximum amount a person willing to pay for a good and its market price. In previous case of ice cream, your consumer surplus is $5 minus $3 equals to $2. $5 is your willingness to pay, while $3 is the market price. If the value of consumer surplus is negative, you will not purchase the goods because the price exceeds your willingness to pay. In this graph, the blue area shows the area of consumer surplus when the willingness to pay is higher than the price, assuming the price is in equilibrium. How about producer surplus? Now let's take a look from the seller's perspective. The seller is happy to make and sell each scoop of ice cream for $2. They sell it for you at $3. It means they sell more than they expect. Here is how producer surplus works. Producer surplus is the difference between the market price and the willingness of the seller to sell a good. In this case, the producer surplus is $3. $3 is the market price minus $2. $2 is their willingness to sell. It equals to $1. Is it clear, right? The red area is the producer surplus area, when the willingness to sell is lower than the market price, assuming the price is in equilibrium. Now, I have this graph. If we assume the market is efficient, it means the price will be in equilibrium. The price is $2.5. The blue one will be the consumer surplus because the willingness to purchase is larger than the market price. We can calculate the consumer surplus using the area of triangle. The area of triangle is half times base times height. So it equals to half times the base is 7 and the height of the area is 5 minus 2.5. It equals to 2.5. So equals to half times 7 times 2.5. It equals to $8.75. So the consumer surplus is $8.75. The red area is producer surplus area. In this area, the market price is higher than the willingness to sell of the seller. To calculate the producer surplus, same like the consumer surplus, we calculate the area of triangle. It is half times base times height. The base is 7 and the height is 2.5 minus 0.5. It means 2. So the producer surplus will be half times 7 times 2. It equals to $7. When the price is in equilibrium, the total producer and also consumer surplus is greatest. One more time, in equilibrium, the total producer and also consumer surplus is the greatest. Now, what is the total economic surplus? Simple, just consumer surplus plus producer surplus. It equals to $8.75 plus $7. It equals to $15.75. The reality is, economics is not always efficient. One more time, economics is not always efficient. Markets sometimes fail to operate properly and not all gains from trade are exhausted. In this case, some consumer surplus or producer surplus are lost. The loss of consumer and producer surplus is called as deadweight loss. And in efficient market, we call this as market inefficient or market failure. What is deadweight loss? Basically, deadweight loss signifies the cost of market inefficiencies and serve as a measure of the economic welfare that is lost when markets don't operate at the equilibrium. One more time, deadweight loss signifies the cost of market inefficiency and serve as a measure of economic welfare that is lost when the market don't operate at their equilibrium. There are two main causes of market inefficiency. The first one is buyer and sellers are not well informed, and the second one is markets are imperfectly competitive. These are several examples of market inefficiencies. The first one is price ceiling. So price ceiling is the maximum price of a good or service imposed by the government to protect consumer, such as maximum price of rice. Price ceiling caused the market price below the equilibrium point. In this picture, the producer maximum only produced 200 homes. No producer wants to produce more than 200 homes due to the price restriction. Therefore, some consumers could not get the goods. It creates the deadweight loss, the gray area. To calculate deadweight loss, you can calculate using the area of triangle too. The second one is price floor. It is the minimum price set by the government, such as minimum wage. Due to the price floor, the graph will be like this. Less consumers who demand the goods, and there will be deadweight loss. The third one is the effect of tax. Tax will make the buyers pay more than the required price, while sellers receive less than the required price. In this graph, B and D are the tax revenue. A is after-tax consumer surplus and F is after-tax producer surplus. And C, E is the debt with loss. The last one is the effect of subsidy. Economics inefficiency is created by a subsidy when it costs a government more to enact a subsidy than the subsidy creates additional benefits to consumers and also producers. Therefore, reducing debt with loss is a key goal in economic policy and can be achieved through measures like price control, tax, or subsidy aimed at aligning market outcomes with societal preference.